All right, I'm Bill Covey from Covey Clan Hunting, and I'm here with Andy Hall. And we both hunt in the Bristol, New York area, as well as Andy, I know, hunts in Farmington, New York as well. And we just wanted to really kind of bring it back to the beginning and talk to Andy about, what it is about hunting. Kind of where did you get your start in hunting and your passion for it?
Uh, so when I was a kid, my father hunted in a group of guys down Cohocton direction, and it was like the the hunting camp atmosphere. You went
Yeah,
down there, they had a camper, and you went down and they told all the stories and all that. I think the first time I went down there, I was 7, and I was hooked.
right.
Just from the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
I begged and begged and begged my father to take me opening day, but it was not. It was always like Thanksgiving that I went. But
Right.
um, so it was that being in the woods. I've always loved it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So you got started with your dad. Um, did that passion change for you as things went on? Like, as you evolved as a hunter? Um, Maybe talking about like your first experience in the woods compared to now that you've are a seasoned veteran
Yeah.
at hunting.
It all changed for me really when I met my best friend Hal. Um, we met at Boy Scout camp. He was a hunter and had that real big passion like I did. My
Mhm.
father was, he loved being out there and hunting and that, but he never, went above and beyond. He just loved being out there walking around.
Right.
uh, my friend Hale had that drive to let's try this, let's do that, and
Right.
then we just developed this bond, and we knew exactly what each other was thinking about, and
Hmm.
and that was it with him when I got the big one.
Right.
It was every deer that we got, we had a pact. If he got a deer, I would do the dressing,
Right.
and vice versa.
Right.
And we just, it was that brotherhood there that
Yeah.
really got me going. And he, he pushed me. He he was he had a hand that was a birth defect,
Hmm.
and I was so amazed by what he could do. He would strap his bow to his hand,
Right.
and he would shoot a right-handed bow left-handed.
Wow.
And I can't tell you how many animals that he's harvested or did harvest. It was just amazing. He
Right.
started with a recurve where he would shoot and he would turn his hand and catch the string.
Oh, wow.
Because there was no fingers, but he would catch it, and just him pushing me. If I can do it, you can do it. He says so. It was
Right.
fun.
That's awesome. I kind of equate that to, um, being on a sports team. You have people that push you to go to different levels, right? And it kind of sounds like how was that person to you
Yeah.
that kind of drove you to improve in the way that you hunted?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And we hit it right off. At Boy Scout camp, we taught rifle and shotgun, so we were around, the weapons all the time. It's one of those deals where, those people that put their time in, those
Right.
guys that, do all the stuff that you do above and beyond hunting, and have never had that feeling. You pray and you wish that those people could have that.
Right.
They don't understand how many hours it really takes.
Absolutely. It's definitely a process, and I agree with that. That you know you're pushing yourself and putting that time into hunting and all the prep work that you have to do. Setting up your tree stands, plowing a field, and getting that soil ready. Food plots and all that sort of stuff. Just a lot of time and effort in scouting and wind direction and the camo, the scent control. There's just so many
So
things
much.
that you can do to, put in that time to prepare for something like that. Hunting to me, I mean, obviously it's about the pursuit of something this awesome and world-class deer, like I said before, but even more important than that is what you just described, those friendships and that moment with your dad, and those are memories you can't replicate, you can't replace, you can't,
Nope.
it's just it's an amazing thing. And I've, you can experience that in a lot of ways, but I'll tell you, I've never experienced those moments like it is when you're actually hunting. It's something different. It's hard to describe, but when that happens, I remember, the biggest buck I got that you actually scored for me, in 2019. After I shot that buck and brought it in, my wife Jen actually offered to help me field dress the deer. And to me, the fact that she actually, she'd never done that before, but she came over, she's holding the deer so I can start gutting it, and and just remembering her being there with me for that experience was, it was very meaningful. I'll always remember that, that whole experience. So I get what you're talking about. It's unbelievable, just hunting in general, but, these deer are so, they're so strong. Their will to live is so strong. Even this buck that you had to put in a few shots there to get him down, and it's remarkable. A 175 yard shot with a shotgun is no small feat. With open sights and
there was somebody else helping. I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It all happens for a reason. That is very true. It's one of the reasons why I'm doing this type of podcast format. With Covey Clan Hunting and just other organizations, is to capture those stories, those moments, those deer camp stories, as you call them, are the most powerful thing about this whole hunting concept, in my opinion. And we have to do our best to preserve those stories and share them. And there's so many, not just hunting lessons, but life lessons. You talked about earlier just the close relationship you had with your best friend Hal, your dad, and others. You'll never forget that. And you have that with you always. So that's really important.
And something like this is what you're doing is great, because I won't be here forever.
Right.
None of us will be.
Right.
And it will go on.
Right.
Someday your great grandson maybe will see this.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's awesome.
Well, it's funny because I think about it a lot the older I get, and I'm not that old, but I think about, what is the legacy that I'm going to leave, and all these little things to me are all parts of our journey through life, and what are those lessons that you've learned through your experiences and through the hard work and the preparation. All these things are, we do it, and it's almost like it's not work because we enjoy it so much and we're passionate about it, right? But all those skills and that time that you put into it are really life lessons that other people can look at and say, hey, this is how you do it, or this is how you can be successful, or this is how you can move forward. Or when times are tough, this is how you handle it. And to me, it's not necessarily the adversity you face, but how you react to that adversity that matters. And in hunting, it tests that more than anything else, I feel. You got to be so patient out there and persevere through all these, you got a doe that scares the buck this one time, or, the wind switched and it messed you up, and, you're hunting with a muzzleloader and it doesn't fire properly, you got a misfire, or whatever it may be. All those things you got to handle, and even in your situation that you just described with this hunt, you had a 175 yard shot, right? And you knew that if you let it go another step, that buck might be gone forever. So you had to make a decision, right? And live with it, right? And then fortunately you were able to make some follow-ups and get that big buck down. But there's something to be said for that perseverance, that determination, that hard work, that passion that we have for hunting, that I think that can translate into other areas of life.
In all aspects of life.
Right.
in your relationship with your spouse, relationship
Absolutely.
with your children, and your friends.
Yeah.
You have to, if you want something out of it, you have
Right.
to put something into it.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you, first of all, for taking the time out to do this podcast slash YouTube video.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome to hear the story of this giant buck as well as this one. But even more importantly than that, your love and passion for hunting, your relationships that you formed in that whole process, and your dedication to the sport and to preserve it and to honor it is very evident. So thank you for setting that example. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for all that you're doing. What you're doing here is promoting it just as much. It's this is something that I wish more people would do. Get out there and pass the buck.
Right.
Take a kid hunting. Take somebody that's doesn't have the opportunity. They may be totally healthy. They just don't have the access to a spot.
Right.
Take them once.
Right.
You don't have to have them there all the time. Just take them once.
Exactly.
Take somebody, that's disabled in a wheelchair. It's not easy. I've done
Right.
it, but it's more rewarding for you than it is for them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
At times, and you develop another friendship.
Right.
So just try to give back. That's all we try to do.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right.